Whether we're doing network troubleshooting or network maintenance, we need to do documentation. Something that I've said for years regarding documentation is that having no documentation is better than having incorrect documentation. If you're basing your actions on an incorrect or an incomplete set of documents, you might go off on a tangent that takes you away from the central issue you're trying to fix. So it's so important to have updated and accurate documentation. And you need to make sure that this is easy for network engineers to update. Let's make sure there's no hesitation for them to make that document update. They don't have to jump through hoops. They can easily access it maybe on a shared drive, or you have an application on their computer, on their smartphone, that's going to allow them to easily update and look at this documentation. Let's ask ourselves, though, what sorts of information might be contained in a complete set of network documentation? Well, this can certainly vary depending on your specific situation, but in general, we'll want to have things like this. We might want to have a document showing how IP addresses are assigned. This floor has this block of IP addresses. This other floor has this other block of IP addresses. We're doing IP address summarization as we exit this building. Our documentation could also contain a set of configuration files from our routers and from our switches, and we could have a listing of what equipment we have. Maybe not just the equipment that's in service right now, but a listing of spare equipment. For troubleshooting purposes, it would be nice to know that, yes, I've got another Catalyst 6500 series switch sitting in storage waiting to be used. And one of the main documents we're going to use is the topology of the network. We want to have a set of topology diagrams showing how are things interconnected. And this can include a wiring diagram as well to show that this fiber pair on this patch panel in this building connects to these specific connectors in a patch panel in another building. And over the last few slides, we've been talking about some common procedures for network troubleshooting and network maintenance. We've talked about change control, we've talked about communication, and now we've talked about documentation. In our next video, we're going to shift gears a little bit, and we're going to start talking about how we can manage the configuration files on our equipment. We've talked about how important it is to have a configuration of our equipment as part of our documentation. Well, we're going to see in our next video some ways to make a backup, ways to have an archival copy of our equipment configurations.